Everyone thinks Naoya Inoue versus Alan Picasso is a mismatch, an easy fight, a tune-up, another highlight reel knockout waiting to happen. And that confidence, that certainty, is exactly what makes this fight dangerous. Because the most dangerous fights in boxing are never the ones you expect to lose. They're the ones you're supposed to win. There's a reason some people inside boxing are uncomfortable with this matchup, not because Alan Picasso is better than Naoya Inoue, but because this fight introduces problems that most fans aren't even looking for. And today, I want to break down why Inoue versus Picasso could be far more dangerous than it looks, and why overlooking this fight might be a mistake that only becomes obvious once it's already too late. Naoya Inoue currently exists in a rare space in boxing. He isn't just winning, he's dominating in a way that feels inevitable. When Inoue fights, the assumption is that the result is already decided. The only real question becomes how he wins and how quickly it happens. That aura didn't come from hype. It came from consistency, from dismantling champions, from moving up weight classes and making elite fighters look ordinary. And because of that, fans now view his fights through a very specific lens. Either an opponent is seen as a legitimate threat, or they're seen as irrelevant. Alan Picasso has been placed squarely in the second category. That's where the danger begins. Because boxing doesn't operate on reputation, it operates on styles, timing, and moments where momentum quietly shifts without warning. Alan Picasso is young, undefeated, and largely unknown to the mainstream boxing audience, but unknown doesn't mean unprepared, and it definitely doesn't mean harmless. Picasso isn't reckless, he doesn't fight emotionally, he doesn't chase exchanges just to prove toughness. His approach is controlled, patient, and deliberate. That already makes him different from most of Inoue's recent opponents. Many fighters step into the ring against Inoue knowing they can't outbox him, so they gamble. They try to overwhelm him early, they trade power, they look for moments to prove they belong. That strategy almost always fails. Picasso doesn't need to win exchanges. He just needs to avoid losing them badly. He needs to make the fight uncomfortable, slow, and uncertain. And uncertainty is where even great fighters can be tested. There's also a psychological layer here that people underestimate. Picasso has absolutely nothing to lose. No one expects him to win. If he loses, it's experience. If he survives, it's heart. And if he causes problems, his career changes overnight. That lack of pressure allows fighters to relax, and relaxed fighters are dangerous. They don't tense up when they get hit. They don't rush when things don't go their way. They settle into fights instead of forcing them. That's how underdogs grow, round by round. Stylistically, this matchup introduces real questions. Inoue is devastating when opponents stand in front of him or retreat in straight lines. He cuts the ring beautifully, he reads reactions instantly, and he punishes hesitation with brutal efficiency. But lateral movement disrupts that rhythm. Fighters who circle, jab, and refuse to stay in range force Inoue to reset repeatedly. Every reset slows the pace. Every pause interrupts timing, and timing is everything for a puncher. That doesn't mean Inoue can't adapt. He absolutely can. He's one of the most intelligent fighters in the sport, but adaptation takes time, and time is the underdog's greatest ally. As rounds pass, patterns emerge. Small successes start to matter. A clean jab here, a missed counter there. Confidence grows quietly without anyone noticing at first. Then there's the issue of weight. At super bantamweight, Inoue is still elite, but the fights are different. Opponents are bigger, sturdier, and more durable. Shots that once ended fights instantly now start sequences instead. Knockouts take longer, exchanges last longer. Mistakes carry more consequences. Longer fights mean more variables. Fatigue becomes a factor. Rhythm matters more. Timing can slip. And even minor lapses can create openings. This isn't a criticism of Inoue, it's reality. As fighters move up in weight and extend their careers, the margins shrink. Add in travel, environment, and disruption to routine, and suddenly this fight isn't just about skill. It's about sharpness, focus, comfort. Even elite fighters can look slightly off under unfamiliar conditions. An underdog doesn't need dominance. He just needs opportunity. Boxing history is filled with examples of elite champions being pushed by fighters nobody respected. Younger fighters, awkward movers, stylists who didn't follow the script. You don't need Picasso to be better than Inoue. You just need him to be awkward long enough to make things uncomfortable. And discomfort is where doubt lives. If Inoue dominates Picasso, nothing changes. Another defense, another statement, business as usual. But if he struggles, even in victory, the conversation changes. Opponents start believing they can take rounds. Future challengers gain confidence. The aura becomes just a little less untouchable. Even a tough win can quietly reshape momentum. And that's why this fight matters more than it appears. Not because Inoue is expected to lose, but because this is the kind of matchup that reveals things. Timing, comfort, patience, vulnerability. These are the fights that don't show up on paper but matter in reality. I still favor Naoya Inoue to win this fight. He's the superior fighter, he's the proven champion, and he deserves to be the favorite. But this isn't a walkover, this isn't a showcase, and this fight shouldn't be dismissed. Alan Picasso is dangerous, not because he's better, but because he's different. And in boxing, different is often enough to create real problems. So, what do you think? Is this just another routine defense, or is this the kind of fight people are sleeping on? Drop your prediction in the comments, and I'll see you next time.